everyone. I'm Jennifer Zarate with CRN TV, asking you to join me in this very important conversation around racism in America and how we can no longer sit idly by and remain silent. Amid this global pandemic, devastating news broke of the killings of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. Familiar acts of violence that have sparked nationwide protests demanding change. And here with me today to talk about the issue of racial inequality is Terry Brown Walker, Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at Summerwood Corp., a fast food franchisee in the greater Philadelphia area. Thank you for joining me, Terry.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. What has been your experience as a Black woman in technology?
Well, going back a number of years, of course, when I started, there were very few women and fewer minorities in the tech field. And I found out that all across the board, I've always surprised my counterparts because I didn't get where I am because of affirmative action. I got to where I am because I was given a chance. And I've been with the same company for over 34 years, and I think that in itself speaks volumes.
And what advice do you have for today's minority youth who are faced with racial disparities?
I would say, first off, become thick-skinned. Second of all, remember, knowledge is power. And once you have the power, no one can take that away from you, and to continue to persevere.
So as we talk about systemic racism, what is your call to action?
My call to action would be for companies, especially employers, to attempt to become more diversified in their hiring. The CEOs and presidents of various companies are now being forced to focus on what has been an ongoing dilemma in the tech field.
Like many in the industry, channel leaders are also grappling with these difficult issues. I'm here with Wendy Stewart, Vice President of Sales Operations at DataBank, a data center provider located in Dallas, Texas. Thank you for joining me, Wendy.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So how do you feel about what's going on in the country today?
Wow, that's a heavy and loaded question. I'm saddened by what's going on in the country today. It's brought, something that's, we've had a bad history with racism in America, and now it's, right in the forefront. It's, every channel you turn to. I'm hoping that what we're dealing with now, it's not something that we're dealing with in another 40 years.
And what is your call to action?
My personal call to action is educate. Educate as many people as I can about the negative impacts of racism. That's not just educating, within my home. I think I have to bleed that over into personal relationships with friends. Let's talk about it. So let's educate and let's advocate. People are asking questions. What can I do? What can I do better? Help me understand. Why do you feel this way? Have the conversations.
Did you have a Black role model who inspired you to pursue a path in technology?
I did not. I started in a data center and worked with a guy who was the founder of the company, and just kind of learned from the bottom. I was the only African American at the company at the time. And that's something that really has to happen. Companies don't have Blacks on their board, not a lot of companies. It's really hard when, people can't aspire to be something when they don't see that it exists. And that's one of the things that I'm really, really advocating for, is have people in positions that can be role models to people, to, up and coming people. People don't want to feel that there's a ceiling. They want to feel that if they work hard, they can always continue to grow and achieve success. And that's not represented well today.
And as a mother, what advice do you have for all parents who want to educate their children about racism in the U.S.?
The best advice that, I would share with parents is education starts at home. And you have to have a conversation, and it's not just one conversation. You have to have a lot of conversations with your kids and say, listen, racism is wrong. Treat people how you want to be treated. And that's it. Like it's simple. It's a simple concept, but the whole philosophy of racism is someone is beneath you, and you can't live your life thinking that someone, because they have another race, they're beneath you. Teach your kids early that, everybody, should be treated equally. And, that's the fundamentals, know the difference between right and wrong. And it's a simple concept, but it really has to start at home. And, as parents, we tend to want to put a lot of responsibility on, oh, that's something that they learn at school. You are not born a racist. You are not born a racist. It's something that's taught. And it's something that can be untaught.
I'm now joined by Girish Avansa, the founder of systems integrator Popcorn Apps, a Microsoft Gold partner. Thank you for joining me, Girish.
Thank you.
Within the tech industry, why do you feel it's important to talk about the current state of racism in America?
To a certain extent, I feel like this is the first time a lot of leaders from tech industry have come out in the open and actually have condemned this very openly, and they're backing, obviously, that's the right thing to do. This is not the way to treat the Black people and cannot discriminate them. Saying that, we have seldom seen any discrimination in the tech industry. Tech industry is one of those industries where you have the skill, you have the way to perform, then it doesn't really matter. And that's how we all came to this country. Nobody discriminated us because we bring in those skills. Only difference being is now, is there enough we are doing just to make sure that the Black community, people from Black community are part of this booming industry? Do we have enough representation, not just at the working level, but at all different levels in the organization? Are there enough leaders? Are there enough influencers in the industry? Or do we need to do more to bring them out in the open and give them those roles so that there's a proper leadership within the community to look up to and then grow beyond that?
Technology leaders in the industry have taken to social media, using their platform to denounce racism and call for action, like Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, who said, "We share our support for racial equality and solidarity with the Black community, and in memory of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and others who don't have a voice. For those feeling grief, anger, sadness, and fear, you are not alone." And AWS's CEO Andy Jassy said, "What will it take for us to refuse to accept these unjust killings of Black people? How many people must die? How many generations must endure? How much eyewitness video is required? What else do we need? We need better than what we're getting from courts and political leaders." I'd like to take this time to recognize some of the names of Black Americans who have died at the hands of police in the U.S. since Eric Gardner's death in July 2014. Thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Zarate, reporting for CRN TV.